So anyway, we meet Dookie and his pacifier, and we also get reintroduced to Chris, Lil Chris, who was the one that got arrested with Doughboy shortly before they fast forwarded. And this time Chris is in a wheelchair. And right away, watching that at 13, I got it. Boom. Chris was involved in gang activity, or he was at the wrong place at a wrong time. But shout out to them, man. All throughout the movie, they carried Chris's ass around a lot. Like, where they had that 6Os. I was like, where did they put his wheelchair? Man, they be, man. Anyway, we'll get to Chris later. But yes, we get introduced to everybody. We also get reintroduced to Trey, played by Cuba Gooding Jr.
He go to Wall Street too? He go to CRENSHAW.
Few girls at the party, including Yo-Yo, one of my first crushes. Oh, I love me some Yo-Yo, and I recognize Yo-Yo right away. Yeah, she's in that scene with those 3 girls. Go back and watch if you didn't know. Yo-Yo is right there with her fine ass. And then you got old girl. What's her name? She had the braids. Oh, it's gonna bother me because I loved her character. The one that said, "You better go to the store and give me a 40 ounce with that shit." What was homegirl's name? Comment down below. I can't believe Regina King. Man, how could I forget the homegirl Regina King? Man, she ended up becoming one of the more popular actors, and she went on to do a lot of work. And she played a great character in this. She played a great hood rat. Regina King played a great hood rat in this movie. She was the opposite of Ice Cube's character. And my favorite scene is when they're standing on the porch, right? Drinking the 40 ounce. And then Regina finishes the 40, hands the bottle back to Cube, and Cube said, "You better take your ass to the store with that." When Trey was leaving the party with the food in his hand, and the red car pulls up. What up, fool? Called him a mark and all that. Mark doesn't get used a lot. I still hear Buster, but I don't hear Mark. Buster was big back in the 90s too, but Mark, I don't hear that word too much. But what up, Mark? He called him a Mark. Mark was like, "You're a Buster." But little known history about the guy who was part of that, part of the Bloods in that red car. I'm gonna tell you the history of one of them later. It's gonna blow you away. The guy who shot Ricky, his story, his real life story, like the real person, that not the actor, but the real person behind the actor, or whatever, you know I'm trying to say. His story is amazing. Yes, the Bloods would assume to be Bloods. They never said they're Bloods. There was never any indication, but there was red. There was always red, right? And then even later on in the movie, they were wearing red. So like anybody who grew up, they're like, okay, they're the red team. They're the red team. All right. So they pull up on him, pull the gun, and now we get introduced to the nemesis of the movie, right? They come back later to haunt the movie. But let's see what happens next. We get introduced to Ricky. I can't forget about Ricky. Man, R.I.P. Ricky. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Boys in the Hood, it's been 35 years. Sorry, spoiler alert. Ricky died. Ricky died, man. Ricky died. They killed Ricky, man. That was the saddest thing in but up to that point, that was the saddest thing I ever saw in a movie was Ricky getting popped, bro. Ricky! Yeah, so we get introduced to Ricky, who is Ice Cube's or Doughboy's brother, and he is the favorite son. The best way to put it is he is the favorite son. Mama loves her Ricky, man. Mama loves Ricky, right? Ricky is the star high school football player. Good-looking dude. He's about to have a baby. Young father. And the chick that played his girlfriend in that movie, she was a cutie pie too. I remember back in the day thinking she was pretty fly also. Little dark skin, little almond joy mounds, but yeah, I didn't see her too much in. Oh wait, she was in another movie. She was in Class Act with Kid and Play. I remember her fine butt being in that movie also. But yeah, we get introduced to Ricky, man, star football player, mama's favorite. You know, him and Ice Cube throughout the movie, they have their friction. You know what I'm saying? Because Cube is the screw up in and out of prison. I keep saying Cube. Doughboy is the screw up, you know, in and out of prison. And meanwhile, Ricky is the one who gives mama no problems. Ricky ain't giving mama no problems. Ricky goes to school, and bless Ricky's heart, he's trying to pass school, but he just don't got it all up there. So he barely getting a 2.0 or something like that, right? Like he's at like a 1.8 or something. I don't know. But Ricky didn't have too much smarts up there. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Huh? That's why God created football. So people like Ricky can excel in other ways. So Ricky is excelling in football, and he is really excited about the possibility of going to a big college.
John, have you at all been disturbed by the way the studios have been promoting this film?
Not at all. I think if we would have went out and we would have cut a trailer that said that this is a very poetic film, that it is a film that makes its mark on American cinema today in the 90s, nobody would have went to go see this movie. But if we show the action aspects in the film and that type of stuff, it makes everybody want to go see it, you know? And that's not a reflection on the studio, that's a reflection on today's movie-going audience. If they should, just conversely, if they showed all the poetic scenes in Terminator 2, nobody would have went to go see it, and it wouldn't have made $53 million last week.
That could be true. One of the problems, unfortunately, could be that in some places we will have a situation like we just had with Stan Wilson's report in Westwood, that the theater just will not show this particular film. How do you feel about that?
I think that that's just the fear of exhibitors and people around the theaters, you know, and itself, you know. And, you know, there's ways to curb that. You know, if they have problems with the people that are going to see it, they didn't have more adequate security.
One of the criticisms that's been made, I believe it was even by Bill Upton of the LA branch of the NAACP, is why is it that a black director's statement so frequently today has to be about gang violence in the inner city? Did you have a reaction to that?
This film isn't about gang violence in the inner city. There's only a couple of violent acts in the whole movie. I'm really tired of people coming up and like, you know, I go on programs and they say, oh, the gang film Boys in the Hood. The film is not a gang film. The film is about a black man raising his son to be a responsible man in the face of everything around. And it's not a lot of violence in the film. There's only a few violent acts.
John, who specifically are you hoping will see this movie, get a message from this movie?